Yeah, sure. Yeah, we're here in Centerville, and this is 2075 North. They may rename this street Tree Down Lane after this morning's event. You're talking not only the trees uprooted, but in this particular case right here, the part of the guy's park strip, and down there as well. This is really pretty amazing to see. I've covered several of these over the years, and this one, and it's not letting up. And take a look over this way here, right through this poor guy's fence. Not only is his tree down, his fence is trashed, and this scene is repeated over and over and over again in areas here all along the east bench of Davis County, Centerville, Farmington. It has just been crazy, and it's just won't let up. And so for folks, again, if you don't have to go out, probably a good idea to stay homeward bound. And if you're out, really just pay attention to debris in the road. There's trash cans literally flying all over. It looks like something out of the Wizard of Oz. Now, I know there's a lot of our viewers probably too young to remember the Wizard of Oz or know the Wizard of Oz, but that is what it's like. It's like, Annie M, we're not in Kansas anymore. But we are in Centerville, and this is a wind event that has not let up again for the past several hours. And Damon is going to give us an idea about when it might let up, but again, just use caution, be careful. And if you see flashing lights, we were at a couple different locations this morning. These officers are there for a reason. They're putting themselves in harm's way to keep you safe, to protect you from downed power lines, from debris in the road. So just be very cognizant of that. And as the sun comes up here, you're going to get more images of this damage. And it is, again, significant, and it can be very dangerous out there, so be careful. For now, we're live in Centerville. Scott McCain, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Okay, stay safe out there, Scott. Thanks. Right now, Rocky Mountain Power reporting more than 58,000 homes and businesses are without power across the Wasatch Front. We are, of course, getting a lot of reports of downed trees throughout northern Utah. They're everywhere.
Lexi Johnson is live in Sugar House with a look at what's going on there. So not just Davis County. Looks like Sugar House has some problems too, Lexi.
Good morning, Dan and Carrie. Yeah, the wind is incredible here in Sugar House as well. And I've been driving around the area for about 30 to 40 minutes, and there's damage everywhere. Pretty much every single street has downed trees, downed power lines, including right here. Take a look at this. We're on 2100 South, and you can see that a tree is snapped, completely smashing this black car here right in front of the old popcorn shop. We've got some windows busted out, and like I said, this is pretty much the scene all over Sugar House. We're seeing trees everywhere. There's also, I drove by a massive tree and power lines down on 2700 South in the Sugar House Mill Creek area. And also as you drive around, all the power is out. Pretty much every single stoplight is out and not working, but for the most part, drivers are doing a really great job at using it as four-way stops, letting other people go before moving on. So just if you do have to go out, take it easy and just be careful, because the trees are snapping like crazy all over. So this is going to be a big cleanup process throughout the rest of the day. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Okay, thanks, Lexi. While Salt Lake City School District canceled its first day due to this windstorm, Grand County School District is planning to start today with options for in-person classes or remote learning. There will be hourly cleaning for classrooms. Students and staff will maintain 6 feet of physical distancing as much as possible, and face coverings are required. Everyone will be monitored for symptoms. If a case is confirmed at a school, that individual will be quarantined for 14 days, and contact tracing will be done.
A South Carolina boy said he was afraid of police officers, so his mom decided to give him a lesson. And thanks to a deputy, it was a positive one that may affect the rest of his life. Gavin Williamson met Deputy Carrie Shelton, and after a few minutes, they formed a bond.
Scared, and she wants them to know that, you know, not all cops are bad cops. We have a lot of good cops. So we got to talking about food, and then he offered me his rice, and it melted my heart. So I was like, can I give him a hug?
From that point on, you know, he's made it his duty to check on Gavin, converse with us, you know, just to make sure we're good if we have any questions.
That's a good mom. Now Gavin says he wants to be a police officer when he grows up. In his words, because Deputy Shelton is, quote, a good cop.
And a good example. That's great.
I know, I love that story, and I love the mom realizing that there could be a problem, you know, as he grows up, you know, if he doesn't like police officers, and saying, okay, let's meet a nice one. Love it.
And he did. B.
You know, I don't know, you just go to the supermarket to buy coconut, right? Back in the islands, this is how we were able to get fresh, shredded, grated coconut. What it's for, I don't know. Ajay just told me what to do here. It's Takeout Tuesday. We're making it fresh.
And besides getting cold and wet, some very strong winds today. Unfortunately, they're not going to let up anytime soon, but we'll take a look at when we might start to get a bit of a break coming up.
All right, let's have some food, shall we? Just enjoy something nice and peaceful. Big Buddha's like he's on the islands right now, just grating the coconut.
Pacifica, Takeout Tuesday, B.
Yep, okay. Got the coconut grated. That's what it's supposed to look like. Check this out. Now, tell them what you use the coconut milk and why you like it fresh. Nani?
Well, the coconut milk, the coconut is used for the otai and the palusami. We like it fresh like that.
Now, normally we would squeeze it through a strainer, but look, that's the milk. That's how you milk a coconut. Right there. That's what I'm talking about. All right, we're not going to use that. But the real reason why we come here, seriously, is the brisket. Now, tell me, how did you guys discover grilling the brisket after you cooked it for hours? Nani?
Well,
what's the story behind that?
We wanted to showcase it to our American people, so we can.
Now, I'm not saying that the palate for Pacific Islander is any less, but usually we just boil it with cabbage, right?
Yes.
And we're happy with that. But you're stepping the game up.
Yes, we stepped the game up because we wanted to showcase that we can do other things besides corned beef.
Right. But you're changing it up. I mean, are you adding smoke? Is it flavor?
It's the smoke flavor.
Okay. T, can you cut 2 slices? Because I don't think I really understand what Nani's talking about. I have to taste it. I have to taste what you're talking about. Is that okay?
Taste it.
All right, pass this. Grab one of those pieces. Hand it. Use your tongs. Okay. Let me just pop up over here. Grab one, Nani.
Yeah. Here we go.
You grab one, T. Hey. What's for dinner? Beef.
Beef.
What's the address here, Nani? You remember the address here?
8545 West Main Street, Magna.
Dan?
It's what's for
like
breakfast.
A religious experience.
Oh, that looks so good. Juicy.
It does look good.
That's his nickname, Juicy.
Juicy.
That's his nickname. You got it, man. Juicy.
What's up, Juicy?
How did you know that?
Yeah, I could just tell.
Show the book.
There's got to be a reason. There's a reason.
Don't say his name without a J. Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
All right, Damon, this wind is such a problem today.
And it will continue to be. Unfortunately, the strong winds are going to stick around for a while in northern Utah. We'll talk about that in a second. But after a wet start to the day, you can see that we've gotten a bit of a break from the cloud cover across parts of the north. So beautiful view across the Tooele Valley from the Oquirrh Mountain camera. Now, we still have some heavier precipitation coming down, but in the north, most of it's fairly light over the higher terrain of the far north, but we have more widespread valley rain, mountain snow stretching across southeast Utah. This band moving very, very slowly, but should be drifting off east into Colorado. So by later in the morning, a lot of you will be getting a bit of a break. Now, the temperature is 48 degrees, about 25 degrees lower than it was yesterday at this time. So that cold front was no joke. It really did a good job of not only knocking the temperature down, but bringing the wet and the windy weather. Now, overall, we've got readings ranging from 28 in Evanston to 65 in St. George, but most valleys are in the 40s and 50s. Now, the cold front is moving south into Arizona. Behind it, much colder air continues to spill into the state, and that's what's fueling those strong winds. In fact, we've got high wind warnings and wind advisories in effect through the rest of the day across much of the area. Some of the stronger downslope winds could be in the Uinta Basin, also Castle Country, and strong winds near the canyons of Washington County. Now, a lot of that will die down by later tonight, but the winds will continue in Utah's Dixie as well as Salt Lake and Tooele Valleys and the northern Wasatch Front. In fact, that's going to be the main trouble spot with traffic is along parts of I-15, Legacy Parkway, and Highway 89, mainly from northern Salt Lake County up north into southern Box Elder County. That'll be an issue later today and into tomorrow morning. Even though the winds could let up a bit this afternoon, they'll increase again by this evening and could be about as strong through early tomorrow. Now, our temperature in Salt Lake is only forecast to be 57. That'll be about 35 degrees lower than it was yesterday. It'll be 39 in Evanston, mid-50s in Richfield, in St. George. You'll make it up into the mid-70s. Now, we'll still have a chance of some rain and snow showers with the possibility of some accumulating snow over the northern mountains into southwest Wyoming. Southwest Wyoming might end up with 1 to 4 inches, but most of the valleys will become partly cloudy, and a lot of that precipitation could end up just being fairly spotty. The big story will continue to be the wind all the way through tomorrow morning, but by the middle of the day on Wednesday, a lot of that should be decreasing. It'll stay dry in the south, so you hang on to the sunshine, and after such a cold start to the work week, we'll make it all the way back into the mid to upper 90s by Saturday and Sunday. So you just wait a couple days, it'll start to feel like summer again. Northern Utah, strong winds, especially northern Wasatch Front and in the Salt Lake Valley on the benches and near the canyons through tomorrow morning. That'll decrease in the afternoon. It'll be partly cloudy, mid-60s tomorrow, make it back into the upper 70s by Friday and Saturday, and all the way up near 90 again by the first part of next week.
Thanks, Damon. Here's our You Care tip of the day to help improve air quality travel-wise. Poor air quality from ozone affects everyone. It's bad for our health, our economy, the environment. Small changes in the way you travel make a big difference. Visit youcare.org for more information and ways you can improve our air. And we continue to keep an eye on the effects of windy weather along the Wasatch Front. Another look at some of the damage because of it. This tree down in Pleasant View sent to us by viewer Monica Kuba. And we've got another update in just a few minutes with more trees down, semis tipped over, power outages. We've got the full meal deal coming at you next.
Welcome back. We're getting a lot of reports of downed trees throughout northern Utah.
Yeah, we've got Haley Higgins live in Salt Lake with a look at what is going on there. Some of the problem areas were north of Salt Lake County, but it looks like it has hit Salt Lake County as well. Haley?
Yeah. I heard that there was a 90-mile-per-hour gust at the University of Utah. Right now, we are on the south side of Little America on 600 South, and you can see, again, a lot of downed trees. This is what we're seeing downtown quite a bit. This is blocking one lane of traffic downtown. There are also several street lights that are out because of power. So that's something, if you're coming downtown, if you have work or you have other things you need to do, be aware that this has come as far south as Salt Lake City. I want to show you this, though, how strong the winds are right now. This is a shingle from the Little America Hotel. We're seeing that a lot of these have flown off, and we're finding them on the ground. So again, some very, very strong winds. They haven't let up, so it's really important to be careful here, especially with blocked roads because of these trees, and then power outages and the traffic lights. Dan and Carrie.
All right, thanks a lot, Haley. Lots of trouble here, so we're going to continue to talk about this here.
Yeah, we're continuing to track this strong wind event. Our Fox 13 viewers have been sending in a ton of photos and videos showing toppled trees. Rocky Mountain Power is reporting more than 58,000 customers without power right now. Salt Lake City, Weber, Logan, and Ogden school districts have all canceled class. And Hogle Zoo is closed.
Yeah, right now we're talking to Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall on the phone with us. Mayor Mendenhall, thanks for joining us this morning. And it sounds like some of the trouble didn't really begin for Salt Lake City anyway until early this morning. So what kinds of problems are you responding to and hearing about right now?
There are surely hundreds of trees downed in Salt Lake City. Our streets are filled with branches, sidewalks are covered, and frankly, it's not safe for anyone to be outside right now. So we have stopped sanitation pickup for today, no recycling or garbage, but we'll be caught up by the end of this week. We're just asking people to stay inside because we haven't seen the end of this yet.
And Mayor, what are we telling viewers and people at home? Who are they supposed to call if they've got extensive damage in their yard, trees over? I know there was an issue with city trees. Who you call for something that is officially a city tree?
If it's a city tree in Salt Lake City proper, these are trees that could have fallen on houses, on power lines, on cars, or if it's an urgent issue like that, you can call 801-972-7818. And that's, again, just for emergency issues, not 911. 911 is, of course, open if someone's life is threatened. And then Rocky Mountain Power, you can text if you're out. You can text OUT to 759677. I know a lot of our residents are out of power right now.
And I know this has got to be a very busy day for the city, and you're telling people just to try to avoid being outside right now, but how is the city responding? I mean, what is going on there in your office? Is it a pretty busy day?
It's a very busy day, and I suppose given everything that's happened in 2020, we can't be too surprised that these 89-mile-an-hour gusts are ripping through our city and just toppling trees. There's a 70-foot tree that came down in my front yard. 2 houses down, another 70-foot trees fallen over, just completely uprooted, and it's happening all over the city. But what's important to know is that Salt Lake City is working right now with Salt Lake County and our other partners to make sure that individuals on the street who are experiencing homelessness will have somewhere to go. We're working as fast as we can to help get people off the streets because it's not safe right now to be anywhere outside.
No, in fact, we're seeing, we were looking at some pictures of a tree that looked like it was near a tracks line. Are you hearing of any other problems? What other issues is the city dealing with?
It's trees coming down in the roadways, on cars, even while people are driving, trees coming down on power lines. So I can't emphasize enough how important it is that people stay home right now. We're grateful that all of the schools are closed at this point. And we're just going to ride it out, and Salt Lake City's going to put it back together. We've planted a lot of trees this year already, but this emphasizes how important it's going to be that we come back together as a city when it's over.
Well, also, and you mentioned off the top that sanitation is halted for today, which is a good thing because I can't imagine where all the trash cans are anyway. So it'd be kind of tough to go hunt and peck for trash cans and know whose is whose. So I guess bring those back in this morning, among many other things.
Only if people can, if it's safe to go outside, it'd be helpful to bring the cans in. But I'm looking out the window and I see tree branches down on top of garbage cans. So we'll clean it up, whatever it is, whether it's a limb or a tree or garbage spilled down the street. We'll get through this, but people need to be safe at this point most of all.
Salt Lake Mayor Erin Mendenhall, thank you so much for the update. And to our viewers, the city is working on these things as fast as they can. Mayor, keep us posted of any other problems. Thank you.
We will. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Got another look at damage from strong winds. This from Gary Harris in Farmington, one of the hard-hit areas. Another update on conditions coming right up.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Fox 13's Good Day Utah.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Good Day Utah on this Tuesday morning, day after Labor Day. Here's a look at the view from our Ochre Mountain camera, and boy, what a Tuesday it's been. We have had, because of this overnight storm, terrible issues this morning with the wind. Lots of problems. We're keeping track of all of those for you. In this next half hour, I'm Carrie Kronk.
And I'm Dan Evans. Yeah, the day after Labor Day is going to be a day we're all laboring to clean up, I think, Damon. But it's not over yet.
It's not, and any cleanup today is going to be very minimal. We'll have a lot more to do tomorrow as the winds will continue, potentially for more than 24 hours across parts of Utah. This is a look at the current wind speeds. These are sustained winds, not the gusts. Some of the winds will be gusting above 50 miles per hour. In fact, well above that, especially in northern Utah, but especially near the canyon. So a blustery day all across the state and a very cold one behind that strong front that moved through. We're starting at 48 in Salt Lake, 47 in Ogden, 46 in Provo. About 25 degrees cooler than yesterday at this time, and we're only going to be warming up to 57 in Salt Lake today. We'll still have a slight chance of a few more spotty showers in the valleys. Most of any more precipitation would be in the mountains. But the winds will continue, northeast 25 to 35 miles per hour this afternoon, so they'll let up a little bit during the middle of the day, but then increase again this evening and likely continue into tomorrow morning. In fact, the high wind warning for the northern Wasatch Front as well as Salt Lake and Tooele Valleys lasts until 9 a.m. Very strong east winds, some of those gusting above 70 miles per hour. The strongest winds in Salt Lake Valley along the benches and near the canyons, and then downslope winds along much of the northern Wasatch Front, Davis and Weber counties. So just keep in mind, very blustery, a lot of things blowing around outside. So if the wind is still going, good idea to just stay indoors.
All right, thanks, Damon. And of course, we continue to get phone calls about all these downed trees throughout northern Utah. Viewers sending us pictures.
Lexi Johnson live in Sugar House with a look at it. What is going on? Still really windy out there, Lexi.
Good morning, Dan and Carrie. Yeah, it is extremely windy out here. I've really never seen anything like this in the city. As you mentioned, we are still in Sugar House, where we're seeing damage all over the neighborhood. Trees snapped, down power lines. Earlier, we showed you that car that was completely smashed by a tree, and now we're right outside of Wasatch Brewery, where we can see that this tree here on the patio completely snapped and is kind of hanging over the railing. There are a few other trees here snapped as well and down. Now pretty much the whole neighborhood kind of looks like this with trees everywhere. Power is out in the area as well, meaning many of the stores have closed for the time being. I did end up going into Smith's here in Sugar House just a little bit ago. They are open. However, a lot of their refrigerated items aren't being sold at this point just because they don't have power, as well as most of the stoplights in Sugar House are out as well. However, this one here at 2100 South and 1100 East just came back on, which is some good news. Sounds like maybe they're making some progress. But again, drivers, if you are out and about, just remember, treat all of these stoplights as a four-way stop if they are out. Drivers seem to be doing that for the most part, and they're being pretty courteous to other drivers. However, I would encourage, if you can stay home today, please do, because this wind is crazy. It's hard to drive in, and it's actually pretty scary with so many trees popping and snapping, as well as power lines all over the city. So if you can, just try and stay home. Live in Sugar House, Lexi Johnson, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Okay, thanks, Lexi. It does look bad out there. Thanks for the update. Stay safe.
Yeah, even worse where Scott McCain has been this morning. In fact, it's been even hard for a thin guy like him to stay standing up out there with the trees blowing all over and this tall tree getting blown all over the place too. Scott?
A few things floating around. You've got a couple of high-profile vehicles. This semi tipped over on the side. Shocking, right? And you've got northbound lanes that were just reopened a few minutes ago. They were completely shut down heading northbound. They finally got traffic moving again. But then just across the Jersey barrier there, just a little bit to the south of us, southbound lanes also heavily impacted by all of this huge wind weather event. And traffic moving at a crawl, again, northbound and southbound here in Centerville. But it continues to be an issue, and it's going to be that way for a while. And, you know, one of the things that, you know, the first responders in particular, these troopers, local police officers, and emergency management crews, you know, they're putting their own lives on the line and trying to get you where you need to be. And repeatedly this morning, we've seen some really not smart individuals trying to go through areas that are clearly marked off for their own benefit, for their own safety. So if you come upon something, and yeah, we all have things to do, places to go, people to see, but you know, just hit the brakes for a minute, slow your roll, and let these folks do the very important work of trying to clear these roads to try and allow you and everyone else to get to where they need to be, because this is going to be with us here for, you know, the foreseeable future here for the rest of the morning commute and possibly beyond. So just be very aware of that, and it's going to be a real challenge to get wherever you're going today, anywhere along the Wasatch Front. So just be aware of that, deal with it, and again, let these folks do their job. But just an ongoing event here in Davis County, and we'll bring you more as we get it. But for now, we're live in Centerville. Scott McCain, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, thanks a lot, Scott. The Davis County Sheriff's Office is just asking everybody just to stay home with this today.
Joining us now on the phone, we have Liz Salas with the Sheriff's Office in Davis County. Good morning. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Okay, great. Boy, we are just so surprised about how much damage is out there, especially in Davis County. Give us a breakdown of the problems, everything you're dealing with. I'm sure you're getting a lot of calls.
So the biggest issues is we have a lot of downed power lines and a lot of downed trees, and then we're getting a lot of traffic, both foot traffic and people driving, and we're just really asking that people please stay away, stay home, stay inside. If you're inside, stay away from windows. Safety is our #1 priority right now. So having fewer people out on the roads and out and about helps us to respond faster, and same with all the other crews. And again, it just keeps people safe. So if everyone will please just stay home.
You know, I think it's hard for people. You know, you hear the stay home suggestion, but people have things to do, places to go, you know, and they don't want to be inconvenienced. Are you finding that there are specific areas that are worse than others right now where people should specifically stay away from, or is it just all over Davis County?
It's all over Davis County. I know Centerville Police Department has expressed some concern, and as everybody knows, Centerville was facing greater winds. We've had problems in South Weber as well. So again, if people could just stay away, that's the best thing we can recommend, because until these winds calm down, we're really not going to be able to address a lot of the damage that has occurred. And that the more people that are out there, it reduces our ability to be able to take care of the situation at hand.
Liz, what do you recommend for people that have questions or concerns about what's going on specifically with their home or their area? What do you want them to know?
I think the main thing is they can take a look around and see what the damage is, but I think that if they have power outages, things like that, they need to call their respective power company. If they've had other damage to their property, they need to call their insurance companies. If they're experiencing anything like any sort of a medical emergency or a fire or anything like that, then please call 911. But I think a lot of the property assessment is going to be taking place much later on.
So we've seen a lot of problems along the roadway, along I-15 anyway, through Davis County. Have you heard about any accidents or anything, injuries with any of these accidents at all?
You know, I don't have that information right now, but I know that injuries are likely. Injuries are likely in neighborhoods. If a tree goes down as you're driving through a neighborhood and you're caught underneath it, you could very well not only be injured but die. So I think that the risk is very, very real. We've been warning people about it all day yesterday, continue to do so today, and I think the best thing people can do if they can safely stay in their home, it is to stay inside their home, stay away from the windows, try to stay positive, stay the course. We will get through this. We've gotten through it before, but the best thing people can do is just stay home.
And, you know, I think we're not over it yet. They're still predicting that these winds are going to go on and perhaps through the evening. So, Liz, as far as officers and people that can report and go out to help anyone with a problem or an issue, do you feel like you're fully staffed and you're able to respond and get out there and help anyone in need?
Yeah, definitely. We do feel that way at this time. And I will give a huge shout out to our first responders, law enforcement, firefighters. These are the men and women who come to work every single day and literally brave the storm, much like media. And they're out there right now doing what they need to do to help keep the community safe and to serve the community. So please give them the space they need to do their work. And again, if you have an emergency, do not hesitate to call 911, but just remember that a lot of what might seem like a crisis, like a tree down in front of your yard, there might be a greater crisis because a house could be on fire or somebody could be experiencing medical issues. So try to use the 911 for emergencies only. There's also non-emergency dispatch throughout the counties in Weber, Davis, and Salt Lake County. People can call their non-emergency dispatch. But if it is an emergency, we do want them to call 911. We don't want them to hesitate on that. But yeah, we do have staff out there, and they're working tirelessly, and they are committed to serving the community.
All right. Well, yeah, today is not the day to be business as usual, it sounds like, or to try to be. So let's solace with the Sheriff's Department there. Thanks so much. We appreciate your time this morning. Good luck with everything going on.
Thank you.
And of course, we're still in the middle of a pandemic, so take the precautions there also. We're continuing to track this strong wind event. Our Fox 13 viewers have been sending in a lot of photos and videos showing toppled trees. Rocky Mountain Power reporting more than 58,000 customers without power right now. Salt Lake City, Weber, Logan, and Ogden school districts have all canceled class. And Hogle Zoo is also closed.
Yeah, and right now, Rocky Mountain Power reporting 58,000 power outages. And Cache County is being impacted the most right now. So just be aware of that. Salt Lake City School District was actually supposed to begin classes today. Today was going to be their first day, and it was going to be a lot different, I think, because everybody was going to be home anyway. But now it's canceled altogether for today anyway.
So joining us live via Zoom, we have Yandere Chatwin with the district. Good morning.
Yeah, Yandere, can you hear us right now? In fact, let's just make sure. I'm going to make sure because Yandere, can you hear us right now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
Hi.
so let's bring her up. Yeah, we're just coming to you right now. And we're wondering, so what went into making this decision this morning?
Off my toddler, 1 second.
Oh, no, that's okay.
We understand.
I know. I've seen you as we've been waiting to go to you with your hands full there. I know you've got your hands full, so don't worry about it at all.
Okay,
but just
today too.
let us know what went into this decision, though, as you delayed a couple of weeks and then decided to cancel the first day of classes. Why, when everybody's going to be home anyway?
Yeah, well, they're home, but a lot of people throughout the city don't have any power. We checked in with Rocky Mountain Power. We know their crews are working so hard, so we're really grateful for them. But because this outage has been across 3 counties, they're going to take a while to get these things repaired. If we don't have access to power, we don't have internet access, which means that families at home can't log on. It also means that a lot of our teachers can't log on. And so we just felt it was safer for everyone to cancel school for the day.
Yeah, well, that's a tough decision. I know it's a tough call when it's the first day. So are you anticipating being able to get back tomorrow?
We sure hope so. When we spoke with Rocky Mountain Power earlier today, I mean, I know we're still expecting winds of over 100 miles per hour near the U today. So those crews won't be able to fix things until the wind dies down. We're hopeful that we can get back online tomorrow because we're anxious to get our students online.
Yeah, and with something like this, though, I mean, is this going to be treated kind of like a snow day where you're going to have to make up for it later on in the school year? I know that kids are already going to be asking those kinds of questions.
Yeah, we believe so. Again, this year's looking a little bit different already with the 180-hour requirement.
Yeah.
So we'll work with the state board on that.
Okay. Well, Yandere, good luck with everything. I know that this is a challenging time. We've got double problems right now with a pandemic keeping everybody inside and now with this wind event. So I know you've got your hands full and with your toddler as well. So thanks for taking the time for us today.
Sure thing. And it's Yandere, if it helps you remember laundry, but with a Y.
Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, next time we talk to you, I'll get it right. Yandere Chatwin. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Sure thing. Bye.
All right, let's get up to speed on COVID-19 numbers and the amount of cases we're dealing with here in Utah. They do continue to go down. The health department reports 373 new cases. The state also reports 1 more person has died from the virus. That victim was a man from Salt Lake County. His death brings the total to 423. As for Utah schools, there have now been 38 COVID-19 outbreaks. There are 10 new cases, which brings the total to 172. The median age in those cases is 17 years old. COVID-19 cases at BYU surged during the first week of the fall semester. The university confirmed 80 new cases. The number of reported cases includes people who either work or are enrolled in classes at the university. Today's the last day to apply for disaster assistance if you have damage from the Magna earthquake or those aftershocks that occurred between March 18th and April 17th this year. Nearly 700 Utahns were impacted, and have applied for assistance. You can register by calling the FEMA helpline. We have that information on our website. Just go to fox13now.com. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Time is 9:44. Okay, it's been one of those mornings. Lots and lots of reports of downed trees throughout northern Utah, as well as a host of other problems.
Yeah, Haley Higgins is live in Salt Lake with a look at what's going on there, or what's going down there, I should say, with the trees toppling over.
Yeah, in fact, it's really hard to stand up straight. We're downtown, just south of the city-county building, and it is a really dangerous situation here, as you can tell. But I want to show you what we're looking at here. So these trees, many of them are over 100 years old. They have been toppled down by their roots. You can see behind me here. I want you to see the grass. You can see the wind really going through on the grass here. What's difficult about the situation is you don't know how strong these winds are until they actually hit you. Now it's actually quite pleasant downtown, but I want to show you over here now that the wind gusts have kind of died down a little bit. Here's another tree that is down. Also, you've got very tall limbs, but also we have some people over here that are taking pictures on one of the downed tree limbs here. Not recommended. This is a very dangerous situation. We're doing our best to stay safe. We've got a photographer that's being shielded by these strong wind gusts by the building. And we're making sure that we are not under any large trees at all. But again, there's a lot of people here that are just kind of interested in what's going around. But again, a very, very dangerous situation in downtown Salt Lake. I heard that wind gust at the University of Utah was over 90 miles per hour. And this is not letting up right now. We've got another really strong wind gust. So officials are telling people stay inside if you can, because not only is this wind really strong, but I saw a street light, or a street sign completely toppled over, just to show you how strong these winds are. So we're going to continue to keep you updated. We're also going to do our best to stay safe out here. But again, if you can, just stay inside. It's a really difficult situation here.
Well, enjoy the lulls. It's kind of crazy how these gusts come up and then it lulls out like this. So yeah, stay safe.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Eyes up. Thanks, Haley.
Yeah.
Thanks, Haley.
Thanks.
All right, let's talk with Damon about this wind. How much longer, Damon, are we going to be dealing with
How much time you got? Well, you know, some of the winds in northern Utah could stay very strong all the way through tomorrow morning. So this is a prolonged high wind event. And you can see by this live glance from the Old Mill camera, it's just shaking around. Otherwise, it's become partly cloudy across Salt Lake Valley, so looking better than earlier when we were socked in with the clouds. We had some of that rain coming down. Some of the winds so far today have gusted up to 97 miles per hour at Logan Peak, as well as Farmington, near 90, as Haley mentioned, up at University of Utah. 84 mile per hour gust at Hill Air Force Base. 75 mile per hour winds at Centerville and Brigham City. That's hurricane force, so no wonder we're having so much damage, so much flying debris, trees, limbs coming down. So again, if you don't have to be outside, stay indoors. Just kind of dangerous out there. And cold behind that front that moved in. It's 28 in Evanston. It's 48 right now in Salt Lake City. Low 50s in Moab. St. George, you're starting out 64 degrees. Now, the main player in all of this is a big trough low pressure with very cold Arctic air spilling down into the northern plains. That's what sent a cold front across the state overnight. And as that cold air continues to spill in over the mountains and through the canyons, that's what's fueling those strong winds. Differences in air temperature, in fact, impact air pressure, and that's why the wind gets going. In fact, even though it might lull a little bit this afternoon, we're not going to be done with it. In fact, late morning into early afternoon, some of the winds in Salt Lake Valley could be decreasing to 15 to 25 miles per hour, even though they could still be very gusty. The thing is, we've still got a high wind warning. They'll be in effect until 9 a.m. tomorrow. Some of those winds will become more easterly, in excess of 30 miles per hour. They could gust 70 miles per hour or above. In Salt Lake County, that would mainly be in the benches near the canyons, but widespread strong winds farther north in Davis, Weber, and Box Elder counties. So once again, the worst of it will be along the northern Wasatch Front. Otherwise, we'll have winds statewide today, especially gusty near the canyons. Still a chance of some spotty showers in the north, but at this point, they'd be most likely along and over some of the higher terrain. A lot of temperatures only climb into the 50s and 60s today. Not even that warm in Park City or Vernal in the mid-40s. In St. George, you'll hover in the mid-70s this afternoon. It'll be partly cloudy, windy, and cold along the Wasatch Front overnight. Temperature will drop near 40 in Salt Lake, but all the way down into the low 20s in Park City. In fact, the mountain valleys, far northern Utah, as well as some of the central and western valleys will have a hard freeze for the first time this season tonight. Temperature will drop to 49 in St. George. It'll still be windy near the canyons in Washington County through early tomorrow, but by Wednesday afternoon and evening, the winds finally die down. Second half of the week looks quiet, not only sunny, but all the way into the mid to upper 90s by Saturday and Sunday. And for northern Utah, the winds will continue through early tomorrow, possibly impacting the Wednesday morning drive. They'll decrease in the afternoon. It'll be partly cloudy, several degrees warmer tomorrow, make it back into the 70s by Friday. And this weekend, it'll look and feel like summer again, with the temperature climbing back into the 80s.
All right, thanks, Damon. Right now, we're going to go out to Udot's John Gleason. He is live with us on the phone right now. And John, you're telling everybody, you're telling us all to do something that I don't think I've heard before, unless we've got 4 feet of snow on the freeway. What are you wanting us all to do as drivers?
You know, it is a bit of a unique situation today, Dan. We're asking people if they don't have to be out on the roads in northern Utah, especially those areas of I-15, Legacy Parkway, US 89, stay home, stay off the roads if you can. We continue to see major issues with roads across the northern part of the state here, with semis tipping over. The force behind those winds is just something incredible, and it continues to blow over semis. And so we're asking drivers of trucks, drivers of RVs to stay out of that area if they can. And part of the problem, Dan, might be that our message boards aren't working properly because of the power outage, and so we're not able to get that message out to everybody. So we're reaching out to the trucking industry. We're doing everything that we can to get the word out, and that's really the message going out to all Utahns today.
Yeah, and John, I know the difference is in this time versus other times that we've had high winds is that there at least is a break in the wind at some point, but it's been ongoing this morning, and it looks like it's going to continue on. So as far as the overturned semis, are those the biggest problem right now? What are your other trouble spots or concerns right now?
Well, it's a combination right now of the overturned semis, of the power outage. So the message boards aren't working. The signals, traffic signals across the northern part of the state, some of those are out. Traffic cameras, and so it's really a combination of a lot of problems. Debris, power lines that are down in the road right now, and so just a pretty intense morning out there on all of our northern Utah routes.
Does this seem worse than other times where we've had to deal with these high winds?
Well, Carrie, I think you're right. It's a sustained force that we're dealing with here, and it doesn't show any signs of letting up here for the next hour or so. And then it's going to come back and kind of build up again tonight, and possibly see similar issues tomorrow morning as well. But yes, this has been a sustained issue here, and it's lasted for several hours now, and we continue to see the effects of it on our roads.
Hey, John, I'm going to get technical with you now, but I know you're the guy to do it. So are we worried about like the north-south routes mostly because the wind is going east-west, or are you just worried about all the roads no matter what direction they're going?
Well, really all across the northern part of the state, coming out of the canyons, any of those canyon areas, and especially in the Farmington, Centerville area where we have all of these issues. You know, we've seen them over the years. That's really the hardest hit area, but it extends out to other parts of the state as well there, Dan. And so it really is the major routes that we're having issues with right now are I-15, Legacy Parkway, and US 89. Those are the ones that we're asking all truck drivers just to stay out of the area if they can, find a safe place, wait for this to blow over.
All right, John Gleason with Udot. Thank you so much for the update, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you again. Just keep us posted. Thank you.
Whether you like it or not. Thanks, John. All right, we've got some video that we're going to show you right now, I think, if we can. Do we have this video of this semi-truck? Now, look at this.
Oh.
We just got this in. This is obviously slowed down, but this is the one of the semis overturning on Legacy Parkway. The last number we got of semis overturned is about a dozen, and this is one of those. And this is really illustrating what John Gleason was just talking about. This is why you don't want to be out there. And it's not just so you've got a low profile vehicle out there and you're not worried about tipping. The trouble is there are so many other cars and high profile vehicles out there that could pose risks, and so much debris also flying around that could hit you, plus exacerbated by the fact that we've got emergency crews that are trying to get to these areas as quickly as they can, and with you on the roads, they're not able to do it.
And as far as wind gusts, all right, welcome back, everybody. We just wanted to show you this incredible video. This is slow motion video of a semi overturning on Legacy Parkway. Someone happened to catch this as it was happening, and it just shows you how dangerous it is out there right now on the freeways, and especially through northern Utah.
Yeah, and so we've heard all morning, just don't go outside now. We've heard this from Salt Lake County all the way up to the Idaho border, all the way north to the Idaho border. We're hearing from state officials who are getting an idea of the big picture of all the damage and all the accidents out there, just telling us just to stay home. So we've got a double quarantine basically today, pandemic and wind, telling us that we need to stay inside. Damon, let's focus on the weather side of it, though.
Yeah, but at least you don't need the mask because the smoke got scattered out of here, right? Okay, well, this morning we started out with some rain in addition to that wind. That led up, and we had some sunshine peeking through for a while, but now you can see by this look from a web camera up at Olympus Cove out west across the valley. Clouds are filling back in. We'll still have a chance of some spotty showers, but the big story will continue to be the wind, which is at 30 miles per hour at the Salt Lake City International Airport. Obviously, it's been gusting a lot higher than that. Temperature is running about 25 or more degrees lower than it was yesterday at this time. 48 in Salt Lake, 50 in Ogden. In Provo, it's currently 47. And you can see by the pink here on this map that we've got some winds continuing to gust above 50 miles per hour, a lot higher than that in some spots from Salt Lake County north along the Wasatch Front. But gusty winds are pretty widespread across much of the state, especially near the canyons, over the mountain passes, even some very strong downslope winds in Uinta Basin, as well as Casa Country. So while the worst of it is in the north, this is going to be a factor for a lot of folks. In fact, the main trouble spot will continue to be I-15 between Salt Lake and Ogden. Not only today, but possibly all the way through tomorrow morning. Legacy Parkway, U.S. Highway 89 in Davis and Weber counties, even along Foothill Drive, strong gusty winds will be impacting the traffic. And since they're coming out of the north to northeast, temperature just is not going to be climbing very quickly or very high. In fact, we'll only make it into the low to mid 50s by around lunchtime. We'll let you know what it'll feel like later this afternoon when we look at the rest of the forecast coming up in just a couple minutes.
Thanks, Damon. All right, we're going to go out to Sydney Glenn right now and see what's going on where she is. We've got many reporters now coming out to us and telling us about mainly downed trees and down power lines as a result of all this wind. We've had downed trees from Salt Lake County all the way up to the border with Idaho. It has been terrible. And 58,000 customers, 58,000 homes without power. And Rocky Mountain Power is saying it could take them up until tomorrow sometime to get to all of these people.
Let's go ahead and take a live look in Ogden if we can. And look at those skies. They're ominous, and you can tell what's going on. We've got an overturned semi in the background. And I think we had, last count, at least 12, right, Dan? Did we have more than 12?
Yeah, well, I heard 11 last time, but then they said that there was another one. So I don't know the official count, but I think we're just going to add to that. So just less than a dozen at least.
Okay, let's go out to Sydney Glenn and see what it's looking like where she's at. Hi, good morning. Good to see you. What's going on?
Good morning. Good to see you too. So we are on Redwood Road right now. We came from downtown Salt Lake City to this area, which, as you know, is very close. It took us at least 30, 45 minutes because you're seeing so many blocked off roads from all of the downed trees. We even saw a semi roll over. You can see right here, you have this tree that's been uprooted. As you drive down the road and you see neighborhoods, you see apartment complexes, you even see businesses, you're seeing branches all over the road out this morning. I'm just trying to move this around, I think, because the wind is still obviously a factor going in and out, right? Stronger gusts than others. You're seeing people, things are
All right, we've got some issues, obviously, with the sound there. And we're taking a live look from the top of the Tribune camera right there in downtown Salt Lake City, across the top toward the southern end of the Salt Lake Valley. And you could see those very gray, dark clouds. We had all that rain overnight. The real issue this morning, of course, is this wind.
Yeah, and in northern Utah taking the brunt of that. We're going to go out to Wade Matthews. He's with Utah Emergency Management. I think we've got him on the phone.
He's on Zoom right now.
Oh, he's on Zoom. Okay.
Hey, Wade, we're looking at you right now. So we're live talking to you about, and with emergency management, what's going on? I assume that you're hearing about all of these issues, and what are the responses right now? Wade, you're on mute right now, actually, which is a common scenario for all of us when we're in standby mode. There we go.
All right, thank you. I'm not sure if you can hear me or not. That was my microphone.
We got you.
Okay.
You're good.
Yeah, we have activated the State Emergency Operations Center, which has actually still been, excuse me, activated for COVID-19. So it's just an additional response and going on in the Emergency Operations Center at this time. We have our community support liaisons out in the local areas monitoring the situation with the local emergency managers. Excuse me, sorry about that. And providing feedback and reports into the State Emergency Operations Center. We are trying to encourage the public to really avoid getting out there and doing a lot of cleanup and damage repair right now until after the continued threat of the windstorms have passed. We want people to continue to be safe.
And Wade, give us what you're hearing is the extent of damage. How bad is it?
Well, it's going to vary from location to location, and we're hearing, down power lines. We're hearing a lot of course, down trees, tree branches, power outages, of course. So some overturned vehicles in some of the high winds. Again, it varies around the Wasatch Front. Reports are continuing to come in, so I really don't have a lot of totals at this point.
So what happens in a scenario like this when you're already dealing with something pretty big, with the pandemic? So, I mean, how do you add on to something like this with personnel?
We kind of just basically have to change focus a little bit. We still want to continue our efforts in providing whatever is needed for a response to COVID-19 pandemic, but we just have to change our focus. It's kind of interesting. In fact, today we had our monthly state emergency response team planned training and exercise, which we canceled, of course, in light of the situation that we have here. So we've just asked those people to continue to work in their specific areas of responsibility to provide support to the local response from the storms.
And with all indications that this is going to continue, that strong winds this evening, how are you planning for that? And what are you moving into place, or how are you preparing?
I don't have a lot of information on that, but we are going to continue to gather information and reach out to the local level emergency responders and local level emergency managers to find out what support, what resources are needed. We want to continue to encourage people to be safe and vigilant, to continue to take shelter if they are in those areas of high winds, and not risk any damage or injury to themselves or others. And again, avoid cleanup and damage debris cleanup and repairs until after the threat has passed.
Okay, and we've heard from many municipalities up and down the Wasatch Front that you're asking just people to stay inside. You're saying, don't worry about the cleanup right now. Don't worry about the trash blowing down the street, that your trash can is now in the next county's yard. just stay in right now, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, there's the hazards around there, potential hazards of downed power lines. Again, tree branches could continue to come down. Those that may have been weakened earlier with, gusts of wind, high wind gusts could continue to come down and cause injury. So we just want people to be careful.
You know what's kind of crazy is we're looking at some of this video right now. We just looked at all this video from the southeast part of the United States with Hurricane Laura. And this looks a lot the same, you know, in some of these concentrated areas. I know these pictures really aren't ubiquitous across Utah. I mean, they're just generalized or localized spots, but this looks similar to hurricane damage here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, fortunately, we don't live in hurricane country, but we can get hurricane force winds. We have in the past, you know, several years ago, same thing, same situation. Hurricane force wind gusts that come down out of the mountains and just cause devastating damage.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually by how bad it is. Wade Matthews with Emergency Management, thank you so much for giving us an update, and please keep us posted of any other problems. Appreciate the interview.
Yeah, nice job. Thanks, Wade. All right, so we're talking about all this damage up and down the Wasatch Front, you know, and we've got our reporters all up and down, and we've seen everybody, all of the reporters who are out there, just about getting blown over by these wind gusts. You know, you can have one moment, you can be in a lull where it looks like it's just a, you know, a beautiful and tranquil day, and then all of a sudden these gusts come up and they about knock you down.
All right, let's go out to Adam right now. I'm not even sure where Adam is this morning.
But he'll tell us.
But he's getting blown around. We can see that. Adam, good morning.
Yeah, Dan Carey, we're on Legacy Parkway right now. I'm holding onto the railing because I'm not going to lie, it is miserable out here. My lips are dry. We got dirt blowing into our mouths. We got the semi-truck on its side right over there. You can tell cars finally allowed through here on Legacy Parkway for the first time in a little while. It was taking me about half an hour just to go about 0.1, 0.2 miles. I guess I could have walked a little faster, but if I was walking, I would have gotten blown away, honestly. If I was not holding on to this railing right now, I would be getting blown away. I don't even know if my photographer, who's standing 6 feet away from me, can even hear me right now. But if we could point to some of the traffic going down this way, that's what makes me nervous. Not so much the wind, but as these big rigs are driving past us, that is what makes me nervous. The biggest advice I would give if you're standing next to or driving next to some of these brave big rig drivers, don't do it. Just keep a safe distance. There is traffic everywhere right now. There is no point in getting wherever you're trying to go a little bit faster by driving into the lane of traffic next to one of these brave big rig drivers. You can see, Doug, I don't know if you can hear him. If you could point to some of these big rigs down over here, these are the guys who are doing the right way. They should be pulling over, and honestly, a lot of cars doing the same thing because it is very dangerous out here to be driving these high-profile vehicles. Again, we are on Legacy Parkway right now near Centerville. It is an obstacle course just to even drive up here in the wind. You can see I'm still getting toppled over a little bit, but it is an obstacle course just to drive a normal car with all the fallen street signs, all the fallen debris. If I'm short of breath, it's really just because of the wind drawing out our mouths, drawing out our noses, and all this dirt flying around as well. It is not fun to be out here driving, walking, standing, reporting. The best thing to do, we've been preaching it all day, stay home if you absolutely can. It's going to be a busy day for tow truck drivers. Obviously, a lot of these big rig drivers, they have experience driving in bad weather conditions, things like snow, things like sleet, but high wind like this is so much more of a rare occurrence. They are not used to driving in wind like this on a regular basis. I'm not sure if you can tell right now, it has calmed down for just a brief second, but it is so touch and go all the way up and down Legacy Parkway, all the way up and down I-15. I-15 a little bit worse, but again, every little stretch of freeway is a little bit different. So my experience getting up here could be a little bit different. Again, the advice, stay home, avoid situations like this. And
hey, Adam,
we're going to keep an eye out on the traffic conditions and everything else. Yeah, Dan?
Yeah, I'm surprised there's so many semis out there still, even after UHP and Udot has asked everybody to stay off the roads. all these semis driving past with these overturned semis. It's got to be for a semi driver kind of like walking past the gallows or something like that, seeing others that have already gone down and wondering when you're next. So have you seen just consistently semi trucks driving up and down this area where they're supposed to be off the roads?
Well, remember, earlier this year, late last year, semi-trucks weren't even allowed on Legacy Parkway. That changed because of the expiration with the way that the laws were written back in December or January of this year. But yeah, I mean, these guys have deadlines to meet. I don't know what's going through their mind. Hopefully they have an understanding boss who knows that maybe the safest thing to do right now for their employees is to pull over and not be driving like some of these guys are. I cannot even imagine what is going through the minds of some of these people. It is spooky standing out here. Yeah, I mean, this is a small one. I'm lucky right now. I'm standing on the right side of the road and the wind is blowing to my left. So if one of them does topple as we are standing right here, it's gonna topple that way, not this way onto us. But there's a whole lane of traffic to the left of these vehicles. They're driving on the right side of the road, slower traffic. If one of them topples over, they're gonna topple over to the left, possibly on another car. So that is not what we are looking forward to. We hope that doesn't happen, and we hope that these big rig drivers understand the capabilities of the vehicle they're driving, and if they're not able to do it, they need to pull over.
Adam, hopefully you can still hear me. I know it's really windy, but it does look like maybe the drivers that are going through here are traveling at a reduced speed, which I guess is a positive. But is that what you're noticing there as these drivers continue to come through? Not just trucks, but all drivers?
Well, I mean, this car driving right now, this car's going pretty fast. I mean, this road was closed for a while. It was just opened back up as I was trying to get through. So, I mean, some of the, like this car right here, I mean, it's the only one on the road. There's no big rig next to it. It's going at a pretty decent speed. It's just hard to tell. If we flip around 180 degrees, Doug, if we look at, here's some more big rigs on the road right here. This is the on-ramp at Ferris Lane here in Centerville. These are the ones who are pulling over. There's about, 6, 7 big rigs pulled over there. When I was on I-15 on my way up here, I saw at least 20, 30, 40 big rigs pulled over up there. It could be a little bit worse on I-15, but it's a little bit difficult to tell. But yeah, some cars still going their merry way. They have somewhere to be, and they're not letting the wind stop them.
Well, it looks terrible. Yeah, I can't believe these wind speeds. All right, thanks a lot, Adam. We're going to let you go for the time being and go out to Lexi Johnson, who is standing by. I think she's been in downtown Salt Lake City where a bunch of trees have been torn up this morning. It looks like it's kind of calm where you are for the time being,
Lexi, but it looks like there are a couple of trees down behind you. Is that the case?
Yes, there's so many down trees. So we're in the avenues right now, and you can tell the wind has really died down, at least up here. We came up here from Sugar House where we were, where the wind was whipping, and just trying to get from Sugar House up here to the avenues was like a maze because there were down trees and power lines on every other street. So we turn one way, have to turn around, go to another street just to try and get up here because there's so many down trees. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, they're everywhere. So right now we are on 6th Avenue and D Street where this tree is down behind me. And this is Doug Juras as well. And Doug, you live up here in the avenues kind of just around the corner from here. And you were kind of talking about all the damage you've seen this morning. What have you experienced since all of this started happening?
Well, about 6:30 our power went out, and 7 o'clock I got up to start surveying the damage overnight, and I saw that my plum tree on the side of the house had toppled. It was uprooted completely. It's across the driveway into the neighbor's house. Then I looked up and down the street. There was branches and limbs and debris all up and down the street. And then I saw this tree up here that had toppled over. It's blocking the whole street. And there's trees up and down the street that are toppled. It's worse than a tornado hit.
Have you ever seen anything like this in Salt Lake?
Never. I mean, even 10 years ago, 12 years ago when we had the tornado, we didn't have this kind of damage.
Have you had a chance to talk to your neighbors? I mean, we've got some neighbors out over here right now, as well as, when you drive through the avenues, it seems like everyone is outside right now kind of surveying damage and starting the cleanup process already. Have you had a chance to talk to anyone?
I've talked to a couple of neighbors. The one neighbor, he's been out picking up the branches that were in his yard and the neighbor's yard, and I can hear chainsaws going all over the neighborhood. I've seen tree companies out. The streets department is out picking up trees and limbs and stuff. So, yeah, it's crazy. It's nuts out here.
Where do you go from here? Because I mean, your home doesn't seem to be damaged, but you've got the trees toppled. What's your next move?
Oh, first I want to get the plums that are on the tree and see what I can salvage from there. And then I need to get a tree service to come and to remove the tree. And it's just cleanup after that. Luckily, I'm off today because of a funeral in the family. So I had to take the day off, but it's just crazy.
It really is. And like we said, it's not like we just have one or two toppled trees. There's probably thousands all over the city. I mean, it's every other street kind of looks like this. And as we were driving in the neighborhoods, we have seen city crews out here. We've also seen tree companies out here blocking off the streets, starting to cut up those trees so people can open the roads and start to make their way around the city. For now, we're live in the avenues. Lexi Johnson, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, thanks a lot, Lexi. So we heard about the response right now just from this homeowner here, and you could hear that there were people with chainsaws out and things like that, but the city, each municipality is responding pretty much in the same way right now, it sounds like.
We're going to send it out to Ben Winslow right now. He is in Salt Lake City, and he's going to talk a little bit about that, what Salt Lake City and what other municipalities are doing to handle all this damage. Ben?
Ben, are you out there? Well, we know he's out there somewhere.
Yes, hopefully you can.
Okay, we can hear you now. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I have been actually speaking with state emergency officials who have, and the governor's office, which have been monitoring the entire situation that's been going on here. I'm just going to go over the list of things that we've been getting as a situation report comes in. They are still gathering reports, waiting on the potential for an emergency declaration. They've got to see the total extent of the damage. Damage to homes and buildings, of course, is covered by insurance. So it may be tomorrow before we actually know whether we've qualified for any kind of a state of emergency. But here's what other agencies are reporting. Of course, the Utah Department of Transportation telling people do not go out and get on the roads if you absolutely don't have to. All vehicles, because we've seen so many semis getting blown over. You've been showing that incredible video from the Legacy Parkway. And certainly our reporters with their live shots showing a lot of the extent of the damages on the roads. Of course, widespread school closures. This may also apply to colleges. Weber State University has delayed classes. University of Utah has canceled some classes. And of course, local school districts having a number of closures. A lot of, again, damage and semis down, particularly in Box Elder County, according to the Division of Emergency Management. Just a ton of trees down all over, and that applies all over northern Utah, really. We have no reports of public infrastructure damage, at least at this point. And the state is reporting minor injuries from people being hit by debris. And that is something that is critical. If you just don't go out and remove debris, if you have a tree down in your yard, state emergency officials and state officials encouraging you, please don't go out and do this. Debris is getting whipped up and it's putting you in danger. Be aware, of course, of downed power lines. The Capitol complex is closed as well. They've had a number of historic trees down there. Interesting to point out that some of these trees, they have 8 giant trees down at the Capitol. They survived the tornado, but they did not survive 2020. Back to you.
Yeah, it just looks so bad right now. And one of the other big problems, thanks, Ben, is 58,000 customers without power. That's homes, that's households right now. They're without power. And Rocky Mountain Power has said that it could take them until tomorrow. I know a lot of people, we are, a power-generated society these days, and we are dependent upon this. And so I know that's a long time to have to wait, maybe 24 full hours.
Yeah. They're working as quickly as they can. I know that. I've been getting notices just from my own. I guess my home is without power right now. So they're working on it. All right, let's go out to Scott McCain. He is in Davis County. He's been there all morning. Scott, give us another update. How's it looking now?
Looks windy.
Gee, let's see, guys. Yeah, things have changed a lot. Really looking good out here. Pretty nice. seriously, they just reopened for the second time at least I-15 northbound. It's been closed at multiple points this morning. They just reopened it within the last, 10 seconds probably. Trying to keep folks, in high-profile vehicles off the roads, but it's been a challenge, no question about it. We're on the frontage road here in Centerville, nearby one of the big parks, and even here you can see a huge amount of destruction. We've got this big high-profile vehicle overturned right here. So it has been a challenge. There are, everywhere you look here, and this is really the same. It's not, unique to this area, but this is one of the more hard-hit areas. Trees down, fences damaged, trash cans out and about. It is, it's really pretty something to see. I mean, again, covering many of these over the years, this likely the worst by far of the ones that we've been involved in. So if you don't have to be out and you're home watching any of this, stay home. It's pretty dangerous. There goes the tripod. So yeah, it's a situation you don't want to have to be out in if you don't have to be. So yeah, there you have it. For now, we're live in Centerville. Scott McCain, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Watch out.
Stand up against the fence, duck and cover. All right, thanks, Scott.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
is crazy. How much longer, Damon?
How about 24 hours? It could very last all the way through tomorrow morning, so this will be a prolonged event. Obviously, huge changes since yesterday after a strong cold front moved in. We also got some rain, some high elevation snow, but looking out from the Ochre Mountain camera across Tooele Valley, at least it looks better than it did earlier, even though you're going to have to enjoy that view from inside because it is so dangerous out there with a lot of flying debris and trees coming down and possibly other things as well. Some of the winds so far today have gusted into the upper 90s near Farmington and Centerville. Even across Salt Lake Valley, a lot of places have gusted above 50 miles per hour. There was an 89 mile per hour gust at the University of Utah earlier. This is a look at the sustained wind speeds. Right now it's at 31 miles per hour at the Salt Lake City International Airport. The piece of good news is some of the stronger winds have moved a little farther south than earlier this morning, so things have really quieted down in Cache Valley, and the high wind warning there has been canceled. However, the pink here on the map shows that we have those very strong gusts continuing across much of northern Utah, including along the Wasatch Back, where they've picked up. Also into southwest Wyoming, Uinta Basin, some of the western valleys, and near the canyons of the southwest corner of the state. On top of that, as I mentioned, we had the wet weather, most of which is tapered off in the north. We just have some spotty showers, mainly in the far north. More widespread precipitation has been in eastern Utah, but that's finally starting to drift off into Colorado, even though some showers are still lingering from about Moab south. But as the morning progresses, a lot of that should be tapering off. The temperature is running about 25 degrees lower than it was yesterday, so that front did exactly what it was supposed to do. It really knocked the readings down. So we're starting out 48 degrees in Salt Lake, 28 in Evanston, low 50s in Green River, 66 currently in St. George. And again, these temperatures about 15 to 25 degrees colder than 24 hours ago in a lot of places, but more than 30 degrees colder in Wendover as well as Price and Blanding. So a lot of you will need to grab a better jacket than you've had to have for several months when you head out the door. And it's all because of that front, which is now making its way south into Arizona, but that cold air continues to spill in behind it, and that's what's keeping the winds going. It's a widespread problem across the state. In fact, you can see there are high wind warnings and wind advisories in effect across much of the viewing area. Most of these will expire later on tonight. The winds will decrease quite a bit. However, in Utah's Dixie, as well as the northern Wasatch Front and Salt Lake and Tooele Valleys, the high wind warning will continue through 9 a.m. Now, there's a chance there could be a little bit of a lull during the middle of the day, even late morning into early afternoon. Some of the winds could die down somewhat, or at least decrease, but then they'll pick up again this evening. They'll be out east above 30 miles per hour, possibly gusting above 70 miles per hour. Salt Lake, Tooele Valleys, the strongest winds will be along the benches, especially near the canyons, but they'll be more widespread in Davis and Weber counties. Otherwise, today it'll be partly cloudy, with temperatures only climbing into the upper 50s in places like Salt Lake, 74 in St. George. A quick look at the 7-day forecast. You can see that the rest of the week will be looking good in the south. Winds decrease tomorrow morning. By the weekend, temperature will climb all the way back into the mid to upper 90s in St. George. And for northern Utah, strong winds through early tomorrow morning. Otherwise, partly cloudy, mid-60s tomorrow afternoon, back in the 70s by Friday, and all the way up into the low to mid-80s by the time the weekend rolls around.
All right, thank you, Damon. We've got some pretty crazy pictures right here of a business in Ogden. TNN Cycle with the roof torn off by the wind this morning. Take a look at this. The roof is on the ground as a result of all this wind that has come through. Such a dangerous morning, not just because you're going to get blown over, but because the debris could fly into you.
Let's take a look at some pictures we're getting from Roy. Here's another business, obviously damaged by the wind. This is Sparrow's Home Furnishings. As part of the exterior of the building has blown off and fallen down. I cannot believe that a building like this even. You're right. It does look like we've been through a hurricane or something else. I mean, we're just the strength of the winds.
Yeah. It's unbelievable when you've got 97-mile-an-hour winds. So the threshold for a Category 2 is 95-mile-an-hour winds. We hit 97. So
in Farmington this morning at 7:30.
Yeah, we're going to go out to Haley Higgins right now. She is in Salt Lake City, and I think some of those 97-mile-an-hour gusts hit you when we were talking to you last.
Yeah, and it really hasn't really subsided. I just got hit by something in the head, something very small, but I'm kind of on a block that really shows how dangerous conditions are right now. So I'm just south of First South, Second East, and you can see behind me here. So excuse me, we've got some strong winds coming in. So we have some power lines that are down across the road here on Second East, and I'm going to walk back a little bit here, showing you some more of the damage. We also have a car that was hit by debris. Looks like a branch there. And then if I move a little bit further here, we've got a very large tree that is crossing the road. So this road is closed near First South, Second East. And again, I just want to show you here, Eric, I'm going to move right over here. This is the kind of debris that's flying around here. We've got really large bits of tree that are falling down from wherever they came from, as well as like the smaller leaves. Those are also, they can pick up a lot of momentum, and then when they hit you in the face, it just hurts. So we're doing our best to stay safe out here, but if you do have the opportunity to stay home, stay inside, really good idea, because this is just a good idea. You've got electrical lines down, you've got cars damaged, and then trees across the road. So if you have to travel, do so carefully. But again, it's just a good idea. Just do yourself a favor and stay inside. Reporting live in Salt Lake City, Haley Higgins, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, Haley Higgins, thank you so much for that report. We're going to Max Roth here, by the way, letting Carrie and Dan have a little bit of a break on a long morning with the winds causing havoc up and down northern Utah. The Wasatch Front hit the hardest in terms of Davis County, Weber County, but Salt Lake County is getting a lot of damage as well. And we want to look at, I believe we're going to look at the power situation. Is that right? So here's what we're looking at. Rocky Mountain Power has been working overtime, and they've just recently updated their maps, which hadn't been updated until about a half an hour ago. 162,000 customers without power here in Utah. In fact, when you click on the page, the first thing that pops up is a big red alert that tells you that they are working as hard as they can to get to all of these outages, but clearly the purpose of that alert is to say, hey, give us a little bit of time. It's going to take some time to get to all of these things. And as you see us scanning through those images, you see all over the place, those circles are not specifically drawn around the boundaries of outages. They're drawn in the kind of a central location, and the number that they're showing is the number of customers in that location, if you were to expand out, that are without power right now. And so when you click on one of those, you'll see something that says outages 10, customers 177. I bring up those numbers because my house doesn't have power, and that's what it says where I live. But I'm sure a lot of you are experiencing the same thing. If you're watching us, likely power is not the big problem, but we're seeing so many things from trees down, from trampolines and other household outdoor items being blown all over the place, and we have reporters all over who are keeping us updated on that. Some of the most important things to keep in mind: we have a lot of closures today. The state as a whole wants you to stay, well, not the state as a whole, if you live outside of the area impacted by wind, but in terms of here on the Wasatch Front, where we're affected by this wind, they don't want you to go out and do anything unless it's absolutely necessary. The roads are just a mess. It's dangerous conditions. Emergency workers want to have the room to be able to just take care of things. Schools are closed in Ogden and Weber County. In Davis County, they started schools 2 hours late and canceled morning kindergarten. In Salt Lake City, they were going to start in-person classes today, canceled students online today. And so you're looking at some images of trees that are torn down, and you see these massive, massive trees. I'm sure a lot of you at home have experienced this as well, and I hope and pray that you're safe and okay, and that your home is okay as well, because there's a lot of damage going on out here. Big trees blown over. I know that just in my personal experience, that on driving my son to high school this morning, there was a tree that had blown through a neighbor's fence. And then in Ogden, there was in Ogden, where my in-laws live, a giant tree blew down onto some power lines there. We're going to go to Sydney Glenn. And Sydney, as we go out to you, tell me exactly where you are and what you see there.
Hey there, Max. We're at 600 North and 400 West in downtown Salt Lake City. And you know what? The roads are just a mess. Crews are out here right now trying to move some of these trees out of the way. And you have to feel bad for these crews, because as soon as they put something up, they're pushing it down. Once again, the wind is pushing it down. For instance, right now he's trying to put up that sign to kind of warn people about what's going on. And about 30 seconds after he did it, it fell down. He's out there again. And this is what you're seeing all over the roads of Salt Lake City right now. Trees down, branches down, car jams everywhere. People are trying to figure out how to get around it, where to go. And although Udot has asked everyone to stay off the roads, we're still seeing quite a bit of traffic out here this morning. We were behind a semi-truck crash a little bit earlier, another crash as well that caused some traffic. But these trees are just dangerous. These limbs are everywhere. They're flailing everywhere. People have damage in their homes. We're over by the Rose Park area. We saw a trampoline on top of somebody's house. We've seen fences that are broken. We've seen trees down. We've seen them uprooted. We've seen branches. I mean, you look at this mess and you see crews out here right now, so you can just imagine what it looked like even earlier today, because the wind is kind of slowing down, ramping up, slowing down, ramping up. And so it's going to be a lot of cleanup left here today, and still a lot of damage that we haven't even seen yet. You can see the tree there, right there, up there. You can see that broke off, and that's what's right there in the middle of the street. And that's not going to be easy to get out of the way. So if you are heading out on the roads today, if you are trying to get somewhere, you're really just going to need to be patient. It's taken us a long time to get everywhere we've tried to go so far this morning because of stuff like this, Max.
All right, Sydney Glenn, thank you for that update from the area on the north side of Salt Lake and the west side there. A lot of old growth trees there, and you hate to see those damaged so much. So, Sydney, we'll come back to you, but we're going to go to Lexi Johnson, who is, I believe, downtown, or are you in the, oh, yeah, in 600 North and 400 West? Is that, no, that is where Sydney was. So, you just tell us where you are.
Okay. I've been moving around everywhere, so I've been all over the city today, Max. Started in Sugar House a little bit. Now we're in the